The star-spanning Tycho coalition maintained its impressive presence across 20 systems, a delicate balance of power held together by joint military exercises and cultural exchanges. Their flagship war fleet was renowned throughout the known galaxy for its flawless precision, a testament to the coalition's technological superiority. On this particular day, the fleet drifted silently above the jewel-like planet Sereth, its atmosphere shimmering with pale blue light that reflected off the hulls of 100 warships. Aboard the coalition flagship Vindicator, Captain Marisol Mari Rivera stood with her hands clasped behind her back, gazing through the transparent viewing port at the spectacular array of vessels. Her dark eyes narrowed slightly as she studied their formation, mentally cataloging each ship type and its probable function. Though officially designated as an observer, Mari's mind never stopped working, analyzing, and processing. "Quite the spectacle, isn't it, Captain?" remarked Lieutenant Darius Jackson, one of the 5 humans selected for this unprecedented observational mission. "I've never seen so many ships moving in such perfect synchronization." Mari nodded without shifting her gaze. "Perfect, yes, but predictable." The comment earned her a raised eyebrow from Jackson, but he knew better than to question his superior officer in this setting. Captain Rivera had a reputation for unconventional thinking. It was likely why she'd been selected to lead this diplomatic observation team in the first place. Despite her history of friction with Terran Command's more traditional admirals, what none of her team, or anyone in the coalition, and for that matter, knew was that beneath Mari's calm exterior and behind her standard-issue visor lay an extraordinary ability. She could map complex systems in seconds, visualizing patterns and connections that others required computers to process. Neural pathways in her brain had been subtly altered during an accident in her youth, granting her this unique talent that she'd kept carefully hidden throughout her career. To her, battle formations appeared as living, pulsing webs of light, with weaknesses and strengths immediately apparent. The Tycho Coalition Council had extended this invitation as a gesture of goodwill, allowing humans, the newest and least technologically advanced species in their alliance, to observe their grand fleet maneuvers from within the flagship itself. It was meant to be purely ceremonial, a way to make the humans feel included while demonstrating the Coalition's vastly superior military capabilities. Admiral Valnix Reitor, the Oreth commander of the Vindicator, approached the human delegation with the fluid grace characteristic of his species, standing nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent blue-green skin that rippled with bioluminescent patterns. He cut an imposing figure. Like all high-ranking Oreth officers, Valnix was physically connected to his vessel through organic war tech that melded ship and pilot into a single entity. Thin, translucent filaments extended from the back of his neck into specially designed interfaces throughout the bridge. "Captain Rivera," he acknowledged with a slight inclination of his elongated head. "I trust you and your team are finding the accommodation satisfactory." "More than satisfactory, Admiral," Mari replied with a diplomatic smile. "We're honored to be here." The Oreth's expression was difficult to read, but the slight pulsing of the luminescent patterns along his neck suggested amusement, perhaps even condescension. "The Coalition Council believes these exchanges to be valuable. Perhaps you'll learn something to take back to your Terran command." "I'm certain we will," Mari answered, maintaining her composure despite the thinly veiled patronization. As the humans were escorted through the bridge, several junior officers exchanged glances. One of them, a slender Crescion with 4 arms and reflective eyes, whispered to her colleague, "Should we offer them VR headsets instead of letting them near actual consoles? I doubt they'd know the difference." Her companion, another Oreth with less elaborate markings than the Admiral, chuckled. "They seem fascinated by our holographic battle maps, like children seeing fireworks for the first time." Mari pretended not to hear, but she filed away every comment, every subtle dismissal. This wasn't her first experience with interspecies prejudice, and she doubted it would be her last. The human delegation was led to a specially prepared viewing gallery off the main bridge, where they could observe the upcoming exercises without interfering with operations. Before the grand maneuvers could begin, a shrill alarm cut through the bridge, causing several officers to flinch. The holographic displays flickered and then stabilized, showing a pattern of red warning signals. "Enemy signatures detected," reported a tactical officer, his voice tight with confusion. "But they're not at the perimeter, they're directly on our comm channels." Admiral Valnix's bioluminescent patterns darkened with concern. "Impossible. Run diagnostics." Diagnostics confirm, "Sir, we're being actively probed. Someone's infiltrated our secure networks." The atmosphere on the bridge transformed instantly from ceremonial to combat-ready. Officers rushed to stations, and the external viewing ports polarized to tactical mode. "Source?" demanded Valnix. "The Drawl sector. Admiral, a fleet of unregistered vessels has just crossed the Coalition border. They've somehow bypassed our early warning systems and, sir, the defense grid is going offline." The Admiral's composure slipped for the first time. "The entire grid?" "Yes, sir. Primary command nodes are falling silent, one by one." In the observation gallery, Mari and her team exchanged concerned glances. The Drawl sector was a name that appeared in their briefings, a remote region supposedly inhabited by an extremist faction that rejected Coalition authority. But they had been described as a minor threat, poorly equipped and isolated. "What's happening?" Lieutenant Jackson asked quietly. "Something that wasn't supposed to," Mari replied, her mind already racing ahead, mapping the developing crisis like a living network in her mind's eye. "And we're about to find out if the Coalition's confidence is justified." Back on the main bridge, Admiral Valnix was attempting to re-establish control. "Reroute attack drones through secondary channels, prepare defensive formations." But as the Coalition fleet began to shift position, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. The enemy vessels seemed to anticipate every maneuver, countering them before they were fully executed. "They're predicting our tactics," an officer reported, voice rising with alarm. "It's as if they know our battle doctrines." Valnix's face hardened. "Impossible. Those protocols are encrypted at the highest level." "Nevertheless, Admiral, they're countering every move we make." The reality of the situation began to dawn on the Coalition officers. Their centuries-old battle strategies, never before defeated, were failing against this unexpected threat. Panic spread through the bridge as more systems reported failures. In the observation gallery, Mari had removed her visor and was studying the tactical displays with intense concentration. The patterns of attack were becoming clear to her, not random strikes, but a methodical dismantling of the Coalition's command structure. "Lieutenant Rodriguez," she addressed one of her team members, a communications specialist. "What do you make of these signal patterns?" Rodriguez examined the data and shook her head. "They're unlike anything in our database, Captain, but there's something almost familiar about the encryption structure." Mari nodded. "Because it's a modified version of an old Terran protocol. See these pulse sequences? They're similar to what we used during the Frontier Rebellion." The mention of the Frontier Rebellion caused the other team members to look at her with newfound respect. Mari had never spoken much about her role in that conflict, but rumors had circulated that she had single-handedly cracked the code of a rogue AI that had nearly devastated 3 colonies. "Captain," said Commander Ishikawa, the team's tactical expert, "if that's true, then perhaps—" Before he could finish, the door to the observation gallery slid open, and Admiral Valnix entered, his normally composed demeanor visibly shaken. "Captain Rivera," he said, his voice strained, "I believe we may require assistance. Your perspective on this situation would be valuable." Mari understood what this request had cost the proud Aureth commander. "Of course, Admiral. My team and I are at your disposal." Within moments, the human observers were escorted back to the main bridge. where chaos had overtaken the normally disciplined operations. Display screens flickered with damage reports, and officers shouted contradictory orders as they struggled to respond to the rapidly evolving threat. "The Droll vessels have breached our inner security perimeter," reported a tactical officer. "Our conventional countermeasures are ineffective." Admiral Valnix turned to Mari. "Captain, your species has a reputation for unconventional thinking. Any insights would be welcome." Mari stepped forward, studying the main tactical display. The enemy fleet was arranged in a formation she recognized immediately, a hunting pattern designed to isolate and neutralize communication nodes. "Permission to access your systems, Admiral?" she asked. Valnix hesitated only briefly before nodding. "Granted." Mari connected her neural interface, disguised as a standard Terran military visor, to the Alreth Battle AI. Immediately, her mind was flooded with data, streams of information that would overwhelm an ordinary consciousness. But to her, they formed a coherent pattern, a multi-dimensional web that she could navigate instinctively. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, I need you at the communications array," she ordered. "Commander Ishikawa, take tactical. Lieutenant Jackson, engineering interfaces. Dr. Williams, coordinate with medical for potential casualties." Her team moved with practiced efficiency, each taking their assigned positions beside bewildered coalition officers. "What I'm seeing," Mari explained as her fingers flew over the alien interface, "is a neural encryption pattern that's adapting to your defenses. But it has a fundamental weakness. It relies on predicting responses based on historical data." She turned to Rodriguez. "We need to create a counter-algorithm that defies prediction, something no coalition ship has ever done before." Understanding dawned in Rodriguez's eyes. "A human pattern." Exactly. While the Droll ships continued their inexorable advance, Mari and her team worked frantically, crafting new defensive protocols that bore no resemblance to coalition doctrine. They weren't just observers anymore. They were actively reshaping the battle in real time. "Admiral," Mari called, "I've identified their command structure. They're using a distributed network, but there's a vulnerability in their synchronization." Valnix moved to her side, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with curiosity. "Show me." Mari highlighted a sequence of ships on the display. "These vessels are coordinating the attacks. If we can disrupt their communications simultaneously, we might break their cohesion." The Admiral studied the pattern, then nodded slowly. "An interesting theory, but our weapon systems are responding too slowly to target all those ships at once. We don't need to target them conventionally," Mari replied. "Dr. Williams, explain the concept of an electromagnetic pulse net." Dr. Williams stepped forward. "It's a Terran defense technology we developed during the Frontier Rebellion. Instead of targeting individual ships, it creates a field effect that temporarily disrupts electronic systems within a defined area." "Can such a system be adapted to our ships?" Valnix asked, skepticism evident in his tone. "Not only adapted," Mari assured him, "but enhanced. Your power cores generate 10 times the energy our systems can produce. If we reconfigure your electromagnetic projectors, we could create a net large enough to ensnare their entire command structure." The tension on the bridge was palpable as coalition officers exchanged uncertain glances. This was unprecedented, allowing humans to reconfigure their advanced systems based on primitive Terran technology. Valnix made his decision. "Proceed, Captain." With that authorization, Mari's team sprang into action. Jackson worked with the engineering crew to reroute power, while Rodriguez and Ishikawa reconfigured the weapon systems. Dr. Williams coordinated with coalition medical staff, preparing for possible casualties. On the main tactical display, the Droll flagship moved into firing position, its weapon systems charging for what appeared to be a devastating strike. "Super vacuum torpedo detected," announced a sensor officer, fear evident in her voice. "Impact in 47 seconds." Super vacuum torpedoes were among the most destructive weapons in known space. capable of creating a localized void that would crush anything within its radius. If it struck the Vindicator, the flagship would be destroyed instantly, along with any vessels in its vicinity. "Countermeasures?" demanded Valnix. "Attempting to lock on, sir, but weapon systems are lagging. We can't get a clean shot." Mari looked up from her console. "The electromagnetic net is ready, Admiral, but we need more power to deploy it at this range. Divert all non-essential systems," Valnix ordered without hesitation. "Life support to minimum, shields to standby." Throughout the massive vessel, lights dimmed as power was channeled to Mari's improvised defense system. The countdown to torpedo impact continued inexorably. 20 seconds. "Power transfer complete," Jackson reported. "Net ready for deployment." Mari took a deep breath. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1, deploy." A pulse of eerie blue light erupted from the Vindicator, expanding rapidly to form a shimmering web of energy that stretched toward the incoming torpedo. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed the net wouldn't reach far enough, but then the torpedo entered its field and visibly slowed. Its trajectory altered. "It's working," Ishikawa exclaimed. "The net is disrupting its guidance systems." The torpedo veered off course, detonating harmlessly in empty space far from the Coalition fleet. A cheer erupted from both human and alien crew members alike. But Mari wasn't celebrating yet. Now for the command ships, recalibrating net frequency to target their communication systems. With the immediate threat neutralized, she refocused the electromagnetic net, directing it toward the Droll command vessels. As the energy field washed over them, their formations began to falter, their once coordinated attacks becoming disjointed and ineffective. "It's working," Valnix observed, his voice tinged with awe. "Their coordination is breaking down." Coalition officers looked at the human team with newfound respect. Around the bridge, seasoned pilots and tactical experts were now turning to Mari for guidance, trusting her instant recalculations and adaptive strategies. "You mere observers," Valnix whispered, his eyes wide with astonishment. Mari allowed herself a small smile. "Sometimes the best insights come from fresh perspectives, Admiral." With the Droll command structure in disarray, the tide of battle quickly turned. Under Mari's tactical guidance, the Coalition fleet regrouped and launched a coordinated counterstrike that forced the invaders into retreat. Within hours, the threat was neutralized, and the remaining enemy vessels were fleeing back across the border. As communications were restored across the shattered networks, reports came in from across Coalition space. The Droll attack had been more extensive than initially thought. Multiple systems had been targeted simultaneously, but thanks to the rapid response from the Vindicator, the damage had been contained. In the aftermath, Admiral Valnix called for a formal debriefing with the Coalition Council. The human team stood before the assembled representatives of a dozen alien species, their expressions ranging from curiosity to undisguised respect. "What we witnessed today," Valnix began, "was not merely an attack, but a fundamental challenge to our understanding of warfare. Our centuries-old doctrines failed us when confronted with an unexpected threat." Murmurs rippled through the council chamber as the Admiral continued. "It was the human observers, whom we had invited as a mere diplomatic courtesy, who provided the insight and adaptability that saved our fleet. Captain Rivera and her team demonstrated a quality that we, in our technological superiority, had overlooked: creative problem-solving under pressure." The council leader, a Thessian with translucent skin that revealed the complex network of neural pathways beneath, leaned forward. "What do you propose, Admiral?" "I propose that we formally appoint humans as joint fleet commanders for future exercises and actual deployments. Their adaptive thinking complements our technological advantages in ways we had not anticipated." The proposal was met with a mixture of shock and consideration. For some council members, the idea of elevating humans to such positions of authority was uncomfortable. They were, after all, the newest and least advanced species in the Coalition. But the evidence of their value was undeniable. After much deliberation, the council voted to approve Valnix's recommendation in a ceremony that would have been unimaginable just days earlier. Captain Marisol Rivera was officially appointed as Joint Fleet Commander, with her team serving as her senior staff. As Mari stepped onto the bridge of the Vindicator, now wearing the insignia of her new rank, she felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. The Coalition officers, once dismissive of human capabilities, now looked to her with respect and even a touch of awe. She scanned the stars visible through the main viewport, a wry smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The Council's next exercise was scheduled to begin in just a few days, and this time, the humans wouldn't just be observing, they would be leading. But as she studied the tactical displays, Mari noticed something that others had missed, a faint, irregular signal emanating from far beyond Coalition space. It was barely perceptible, easily dismissed as background radiation or sensor error. But to her uniquely wired brain, it stood out like a beacon. "Lieutenant Rodriguez," she called. "Run a deep scan on Sector 47 Alpha. Focus on subspace frequencies." Rodriguez complied, though his expression showed confusion. "Captain, that's empty space, well beyond our borders." "Humor me, Lieutenant." After several moments, Rodriguez's console pinged. "I'm detecting something, but it's very faint. Could be just background noise." Mari moved to his station and studied the readings. The pattern was unmistakable to her. Intentional communication, carefully disguised to avoid detection. "It's not noise," she said quietly. "It's a signal." Admiral Valnix, who had remained aboard as her liaison to Coalition Command, joined them. "What have you found?" "Commander Rivera?" Mari pointed to the faint pattern. The Droll weren't acting alone. "Admiral, they were merely the first wave, a test of our defenses and responses." Understanding dawned in Valnix's eyes. "You believe someone else was watching, learning from our encounter?" "I'm certain of it. The question is, who? And what are they planning next?" As if in answer to her question, the signal flickered once more before disappearing entirely, leaving behind only the vast emptiness of space and the unsettling certainty that their true challenge was yet to come. In the months that followed, the integration of human command perspectives into Coalition operations proved more successful than anyone had anticipated. Mari's team expanded to include additional human specialists, each bringing unique insights to their alien counterparts. Lieutenant Rodriguez developed a new communications protocol that combined Coalition technology with human encryption methods, creating a hybrid system that proved resistant to external infiltration. Commander Ishikawa revolutionized tactical training, introducing simulations that emphasized adaptability over rote responses. Dr. Williams established a cross-species medical exchange program that improved battlefield medicine across the fleet. Throughout it all, Mari continued to monitor for signs of the mysterious observer she had detected after the Droll attack. She kept her concerns private, sharing them only with Admiral Valnix and a select few trusted officers, not wanting to create panic within the Coalition without concrete evidence. 6 months after the initial attack, as the combined human Coalition fleet conducted exercises in the outer reaches of Tycho space, Mari's vigilance was rewarded, or perhaps, more accurately, her fears were confirmed. "Commander," called a sensor officer during a routine patrol, "I'm detecting anomalous energy signatures at the edge of our sensor range." Mari was at the officer's station in seconds, studying the readings with intense concentration. Multiple signatures, moving in formation, not matching any known Coalition or Terran configurations. She turned to Valnix, who had become her close colleague and friend during their months of joint command. "Admiral, I believe we're about to meet our mysterious observers." Valnix's bioluminescent patterns darkened with concern. "Battle stations," he ordered, his voice calm but commanding. "All ships form defensive perimeter." As the Coalition fleet moved into position, the unknown vessels emerged from the darkness of space. They were unlike anything Mari had ever seen, sleek, asymmetrical craft that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them difficult to track visually. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, more fluid than even the most practiced coalition formations. "Open communications channels," Mari instructed. "All frequencies, all languages in our database." For several tense minutes, there was no response. The unknown fleet maintained its position, neither advancing nor retreating, simply observing. "They're scanning us," reported Rodriguez. "Penetrating scans, far more detailed than standard tactical assessment." Mari nodded, understanding immediately. "They're not preparing to attack. They're studying us." "To what end?" Valnix asked. Before Mari could answer, the main communication screen activated, displaying a figure that caused gasps and murmurs throughout the bridge. The being appeared humanoid, but with subtle differences that suggested non-human origin. Its skin was pale with a slight metallic sheen, and its eyes were entirely black, without visible pupils or irises. When it spoke, its voice was melodious yet unsettling, as if multiple voices were speaking in perfect unison. "Greetings, Coalition Fleet, and greetings to our human cousins. We have been watching with great interest." Mari stepped forward. "I am Commander Marisol Rivera of the Tycho Coalition Joint Command. Identify yourself and state your intentions." The figure's expression remained eerily serene. "We are the precursors. We seeded this galaxy long before your civilizations arose. The Drolls served their purpose in testing your responses." "You sent them to attack us?" Valnix demanded, his composure slipping. "We guided them. They were eager to prove themselves against the Coalition. We merely provided direction." Mari's mind raced, processing the implications. "Why reveal yourselves now?" The precursor's black eyes seemed to focus directly on Mari, as if seeing through her to the unique neural pathways that gave her her abilities. "Because you, human, noticed us when others did not. That was unexpected. Throughout our observations of this galaxy, we have catalogued thousands of species, watching their rise and, frequently, their fall. The Coalition has persisted longer than most, but had become stagnant, predictable." The being's head tilted slightly. "Then humans joined your alliance. A young species, technologically primitive, yet possessing remarkable adaptive capabilities. We wished to observe how this combination would function under pressure. You risked countless lives for an experiment?" Mari's voice was tight with controlled anger. "Risk is inherent in evolution." The precursor replied without emotion. "Those who cannot adapt perish. It is the fundamental law of existence." Valnix stepped forward to stand beside Mari. "And what conclusions have you drawn from your experiment?" For the first time, the precursor's expression changed, showing what might have been approval. "That together, you are more than the sum of your parts. The Coalition's technological advancement combined with human adaptability creates something interesting, something with potential." "Potential for what?" Mari pressed. "Survival," the precursor stated simply. "There are threats in this galaxy far beyond your current understanding. We have held them at bay for millennia, but our numbers dwindle. We seek successors." The implications of this statement hung in the air, profound and unsettling. Mari exchanged a glance with Valnix, seeing her own concerns reflected in his alien features. "You're saying you want us to take your place?" she asked carefully. "In time, if you prove worthy. The Droll were merely the first test. There will be others, each more challenging than the last. Those who adapt will survive. Those who cannot will perish." Before Mari could respond, the communication cut off abruptly. On the tactical display, the precursor vessels began to move, their formation shifting into a spiral pattern before they accelerated to impossible speeds and vanished from sensors. The bridge was silent for several long moments as everyone processed what they had just witnessed. "Well," Mari finally said, turning to Valnix, "it seems our observation mission has become considerably more complicated." The Admiral's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with what Mari had come to recognize as grim humor. "Indeed, and it appears the observers have become the observed." In the days that followed, Mari presented their encounter to the Coalition Council, expecting skepticism or even outright disbelief. Instead, she found that several of the Elder Council members had long suspected the existence of such an ancient race. In the historical archives of multiple Coalition species, there were references to godlike beings who had appeared during times of crisis, testing emerging civilizations before disappearing again. The Shapers, the Thessian Council leader named them. The Watchers, the Judges. Every culture has stories of them, though we had dismissed them as myth. Not myths, after all, Mari observed. And now they've set themselves up as our examiners, with the galaxy as their testing ground. The implications were staggering. The Coalition and humanity weren't simply facing a single threat, but a series of engineered challenges designed to test their worthiness as inheritors of the Precursor's role, whatever that truly entailed. The Council debated for days about how to respond. Some advocated for aggressive preparation, converting the Coalition to a war footing to face whatever tests might come. Others suggested attempting to re-establish contact with the Precursors, to negotiate or learn more about their expectations. In the end, it was Mari who proposed the path forward. "We can't predict what specific challenges they'll send our way, but we know the qualities they're testing, technological prowess and adaptive thinking, so let's excel at both." Her proposal was ambitious, a complete restructuring of Coalition operations to integrate human and alien approaches at every level. Cross-species teams would be established throughout the fleet, combining the best talents of each civilization. Research would be shared openly, breaking down the information silos that had developed over centuries of Coalition existence. "We were invited to observe," Mari concluded her presentation to the Council. "Now we've been invited to lead, alongside our Coalition allies, into an uncertain future. I suggest we accept the invitation." The Council voted unanimously to approve her plan. Within weeks, the restructuring was underway, creating a truly integrated force unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. As for Mari, she returned to the Vindicator with a new title: Strategic Director of Joint Fleet Operations. Her unique abilities were now known to a select few within Coalition leadership, recognized as the valuable asset they were, rather than a secret to be hidden. Standing on the bridge of the flagship, watching as mixed crews of humans and aliens worked together with growing efficiency, she felt a sense of cautious optimism. Whatever tests the Precursors had planned, they would face them united. Admiral Valnix joined her at the viewport, his tall form casting a slight shadow. "Your thoughts, Director Rivera?" Mari smiled slightly. "Just wondering what our next test will be, Admiral. And are we ready for it?" She considered the question carefully, watching as a human tactical officer explained a new maneuver to her Aureth counterpart, their differences momentarily forgotten in their shared purpose. "No," Mari answered honestly. "But we will be. That's what humans do best. We prepare for the unknown, and with the Coalition's resources behind us, I like our odds." Valnix's bioluminescent patterns glowed with what Mari had come to recognize as pride. "As do I, Director, as do I." As if on cue, a sensor officer called out, "Director, Admiral, I'm detecting unusual activity in the Kestrel Nebula. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database." Mari and Valnix exchanged a knowing look. The next test had begun. "Battle stations," they ordered in unison. As the crew rushed to their positions, human and alien working side by side, Mari felt that familiar clarity descending, her mind mapping possibilities and connections. The unknown awaited, but they would face it together. observers no longer, but joint commanders of their shared destiny. The Vindicator's engines hummed to life, and the Coalition human fleet moved as one toward the mysterious signals emanating from the nebula. Whatever awaited them there, whatever challenge the precursors had devised, they would meet it with the combined strength of their diverse civilizations. The observers had become the commanded, and now the commanders. And somewhere in the vastness of space, Mari knew, the precursors were watching, waiting to see if their chosen successors would prove worthy of the galaxy they would inherit. She intended to show them exactly how worthy they could be.